got snare top, snare bottom, and maybe a drum sample or two drum samples, do you tend to EQ the individual sources?
I usually have 8 drum samples.
You have 8 drum samples. From the compression side of things, on the acoustic mics, do you tend to EQ on the track? Sorry, do you tend to compress on the track? Or do you compress on the subgroup, on the sum? Or do you do both?
I do both, but a lesson to be learned there. It's easy to overcompress on the track if you start to compress before you apply the parallel compression.
Sure.
So what I usually do is that at a very early stage, I put on the parallel compression that I probably want to use.
Yeah.
And I'm talking parallel compression. I can have my drum kit can consist of one bus, that holds the kit without any compression, and then a parallel that will hold some compression, and then it could be a third one that holds another type of compression, and then it could be a fourth one that holds perhaps distortion and compression.
Wow.
And then I might try that out, and a little bit like the 57s on I sort of work my and then okay, now this I don't like, this I like, let's try something else. Is this better than the first one? Yeah, it is actually. Let's remove that. And then
the
I sort of find
compression, is it always the same sends? Is it the complete drum kit or kick, snare, toms?
It's usually the full kit, but I use, since I'm mixing Pro Tools, I use a send that rarely has the same level everywhere.
Right.
Usually more level on snare, toms, and not necessarily kicks, because if it's a lot of double kick drum, I don't want it to mess around. That's why it's so much easier to get a good drum sound when you're working with rock music. Because then you can feed the kick in there, and it sounds amazing.
Yeah. When it comes to gating your toms, do you tend to use waveform edits and just get rid of all the bleed?
Yeah, I do. I used to be more subtle. I used to do automation.
Yeah.
But the problem with Pro Tools is that it's not the most stable software in the world, so that you will end up, ever since version 5, there have been bugs, timing issues, that sometimes the automation doesn't catch up,
Yeah. Okay.
And so I don't trust that anymore. No. So now with offline bounce or whatever, I could probably do an offline bounce, automation. But I sort of, I'm past that. I edit the toms,
Okay. And do you tend to? You mentioned earlier that no matter what room you're in, you always use room mics. Do you tend to use them panned hard left and right, or more towards the center and compressed very, very hard?
Mm-hmm. Good question. I still do a little different for every production, I don't have a formula like I put up the mics like I always do and then I hit record. I always spend a full day of trying out the sounds. And I know what usually works the best, in the rooms that I work with. But I recently got a new studio, so there I've been just been recording two productions there so far, and so there I'm still trying out, a little bit again.
This is the one in Stockholm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's I guess what I used to do, I used to like always have a pair of vintage 414 EBs in Omni, in AB, pretty wide, big thing. But I sort of moved away from that, so now my primary room mics are a Blumline setup.
Okay.
The same pair of microphones still.
Figure of eights.
Yeah, exactly. And that I do like. And sometimes I would put like a mono thing as well. Sometimes I put on the AB thing, and then like a U67 in the middle. That can do a lot of nice for the snare drum sometimes.
Yeah.
But if I have to choose something, then I suppose right now the Blumline has been my my poison.
And slam them in the 1176.
Yeah, my trick is perhaps that I don't compress them so much, but I distort them like hell.
Right. Okay.
Because by doing that, I get rid of a lot of the low mid and boxy mid frequencies. So even a poor room can sound much more expensive when you blend it into the kit.
When it comes to drum samples, do you tend to you mentioned often four snare samples. Do you tend to go with a similar amount on the kick drum or less on the kick drum?
I always try to go less.
Yeah.
That's always my aim, you know, keep the track count down. But I fail hard. No, but with kick it's a little different because you will get problems in the phase down there if you try to add too many samples.
Sure.
So I try to keep it down, but then I would probably do like with the bass, that if I need something from a sample, I would perhaps try to cut away what I don't need.
Sure.
And then hopefully I can make it work. I'm also using this plugin called Auto Align that sort of can catch the phase in a better way than
Sure.
usually the air can.